Welcome into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I am James Pleasure. Thanks for riding along with me this evening. Of course, you can always listen to us, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com, or go to our YouTube page, subscribe there at SA Sports Star, where you can comment along. You feel free to call in on the phone lines at 210-656-ESPN, 210-656-3776. I appreciate y'all. You can get at me on Twitter. I am at I Am Pleasure, Twitter, Threads, Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff. We are at SA Sports Star at the station account. Be sure to smash the subscribe button there as well. Follow along for all your daily content, including stuff, because that's kind of the only way I've been able to comment on things lately. I was off Friday. I went to the coast. I came back. We had some early Rangers games. I haven't gotten to react to this Trey Lance stuff yet, at least not on the air with y'all. And I am very, very excited about this because, let's face it, it's divisive to a bunch of people, but I am all for quarterbacks being currency. A quarterback is currency in the NFL. They are worth far more than anything. You see what people do to move up to get them, i.e., look at what the San Francisco 49ers did just to move up to draft Trey Lance in that instance. And even after the fact, Cowboys still give up a fourth. They get someone with a extremely high potential, someone that was thought of high enough for someone to trade a ton of stuff to move in and get him at number 3 overall. And you're only giving up a fourth rounder. You get a couple of years with them to kind of see what you have. And I will give you this much. When it comes to Trey Lance, you can't write the book on him yet. This is a kid. It is a kid who has very few starts. He had 10 starts back in 2019. 2020, he had one start. One start, and COVID canceled their season. That's it. Then he comes to the NFL. He doesn't play his rookie year. He gets a handful of games. He gets in a little bit of action. I think it was 4 games that first year, and it's limited action. And then the next year, he wins the starting job. He wins the starting job and then gets hurt in the second game after his second start. He's played in a total since 2020. He started and finished 2 games. He's started in total 3 games, and he's played in total 9 games since 2020. We're going into the 2023 season. This kid just hasn't played football, and he's still extremely young. So the upside is there. And the other thing that I want to bring around and shed a light on is scheme fit. Scheme fit's big for a quarterback, especially when you're talking about Kyle Shanahan. Look at the quarterbacks that have succeeded in Shanahan, Kubiak, most of those types of systems, whether it's Kyle Shanahan, Mike Shanahan, Gary Kubiak, they all run a version of that system. LaFleur to an extent. Aaron Rodgers succeeded. He's a big name. Wasn't easy for him. First year, struggled a little bit. That's why they drafted Jordan Love. And then it finally clicks. And once it clicks, a couple of straight MVPs. The system is not an easy one to grasp. People like to say, oh, it's Kyle Shanahan. It's the Shanahan. It's the Kubiak system. It's a quarterback cheat code. It's not. Look at the quarterbacks that have succeeded in it versus the ones that haven't. Matt Schaub was a nobody. He was backing up Michael Vick. He had a couple of good, takes a chance, and he thrives in the Kubiak system because he knows the system, but not every quarterback that came through Houston thrived in that system. As a matter of fact, no other quarterbacks did. Atlanta. Matt Ryan took a couple years, finally got into the system. Kirk Cousins is a guy that thrived in that system, but you saw on the quarterback show how much he puts into making sure he knows what to do. The Kubiak system, the Shanahan system, it is a scheme-based system with movement and misdirection and zone fakes to where the run looks the same, whether it's a play action or an actual handoff. It's all supposed to look the same because it's about misdirection and getting people open in space, which is why a tight end like Owen Daniel and Joel Dreesen thrived in it. Because it's about just knowing where to go with the football. You're supposed to look this way and hit that one and trust that that one's supposed to be open. Maybe that just wasn't a good schematical fit for him. Maybe he didn't understand where he was supposed to be going with the football. Maybe he didn't like turning his back as hard as he did, trying to whip around and throw a ball that he didn't see first. That can be a hard thing mentally to grasp sometimes. Scheme fit's going to be an issue. And here's the thing. If it doesn't work, big deal. It's a 4th-round pick. Yes, I know Dak Prescott was a 4th-round pick. Dalton Schultz was a 4th-round pick. There are a lot of good 4th-round picks. There are also a lot of misses in the 4th round as well. It's a 50-50 proposition, just like it is at the top of the draft when you're trying to take a quarterback. It doesn't always work. It does work sometimes. But instead of giving up 3 firsts to find a possible future franchise quarterback, you gave up a 4th. And if it works, awesome. Here's the best thing. Let's say you get Dak's deal done. All of a sudden, he's signed, inked. You got a long extension. Cap friendly. Other players, Micah, CD, all get signed. Boom. He looks good in the preseason. Dak misses a game or 2 with injury. Trey Lance looks really good. You can flip him for a 1st. Then you turn that 4th into a 1st all of a sudden. Is that a bad thing? Quarterbacks are currency. If you have one, if you find one, if you can make a reclamation project out of one, it is worth far more than the value that you gave up to acquire it. Because everybody is looking for him. Look, Dak Prescott is a top 10 quarterback in this league. I say he's 8th, maybe higher on some people's boards, maybe lower on some people's boards. But he's top 10. And out of 32 teams, you can safely say, 12, 14 have a quarterback that you believe can lead them to a Super Bowl at this moment. Maybe. That puts Dak in a very rare era to where all those other teams are looking for quarterbacks. And if you get a second one, you imagine what people would give up for that? It's riches, man. Quarterbacks are currency. And the Cowboys took a shot on something that can become very beneficial to them down the road if it pans out. This is the best lottery ticket you can have because he has all the talent. And people know where he was drafted, and he starts to realize that talent, people will be willing to give up a ransom to get him. And if not, look, for the first time since Dak's been here, the Cowboys will have at least some leverage in negotiations to where Dak can't just bend them over in contract negotiations. You at least have a safety net in terms of, I've got this lottery ticket back here. He was a high draft pick. He's got all the potential, and hopefully it works out if Dak decides to play extreme hardball. He has to, he goes somewhere else to get his money. Maybe he's asking for extreme top of the market money, like whatever Herbert just signed for. Maybe he wants to beat that. I know it's next up, but maybe Jerry doesn't want to do that knowing Micah's coming down the pike. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. I am James Pledger. Stay tuned because coming up next, we got Jason Minix of The Blitz. He's going to join me as I ask him about Trey Lance. I haven't really gotten to get a whole lot of people's opinions on this Trey Lance deal because everybody else has kind of been very busy prepping to get these things done. Jason Minix will join me as we talk a little bit about this. Plus, they're going to be out at the Roo Pub tomorrow. You can check it out on YouTube. I am wearing this dope Roo Pub hoodie. It is one of my favorites. You can actually get one out there if you go and see Jason and Joe. They have them on sale. But coming up next, Jason Minix of The Blitz. He joins me right here on Extra Innings with Pledger on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
The boys from San Antonio Sports Star are back from Cowboys training camp in Oxnard, California, and the tales to tell. 7 days and 7 nights of training camp coverage. And that was just at all of Jerry Jones's parties.
We get to suck on that all week.
Security, of course, provided by AA Best Bail Bonds.
Coach Dan Quinn, defensive coordinator for the Cowboys, sitting next to us in blue 11s, giving us basketball references. Respect. You a baller? You appreciate the game?
I definitely do.
All right.
So just following through the
do you play
playoffs. I'm more catch and shoot, right?
That's what I've become
in my life, but I do really respect it, and
that's awesome.
Cowboys Training Camp, presented by AA Best Bail Bonds, Southern Recipe Small Batch Pork Rinds, Texas Cheer Liquor, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, and SASportsStar.com.
I'm not exaggerating when I say this. QC Kinetics can change your life. You can live again without that chronic joint pain and without drugs or surgery. Hey, it's James Pledger with 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, and QC Kinetics is advanced regenerative medicine. They take your body's own concentrated healing properties and put them right back into your joints to restore and repair that damaged tissue that's causing you all of that horrible pain. The patient satisfaction reports are astonishing. Finally, a real alternative to the old ways of dealing with pain. And unlike surgery, there's no downtime with QC treatments. If you have a constant pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, or back, you need to call and get a free consultation. Imagine this fall, moving around pain-free, doing the things you love again, walking, hiking, golfing, playing with the grandkids. Call QC Kinetics and see how the latest advances in precision regenerative medicine can attack the pain and bring you lasting relief. Now is the best time to get started. 210-571-0318. That's 210-571-0318. Locations in Hollywood Park, Westover Hills, and New Braunfels.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch? Every day, from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
If you have the first overall pick, make sure you select Twin Peaks for your fantasy football draft party. Stay cool under the pressure with 29-degree draft beers, bites for the whole team, plus $50 bonus card for the commish. An additional $5 bonus card for every drafter. Visit TwinPeaksRestaurant.com for more info.
Have you or a family member been arrested? The law office of Jesse Hernandez, the Texas Chancla, can help regardless of the legal battle you are facing, personal injury or criminal defense. Attorney Jesse Hernandez and his team are ready to fight for you. Calls are answered 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. Call 210-807-8656 or visit JesseHernandezLaw.com. That's 210-807-8656 or JesseHernandezLaw.com. The law office of Jesse Hernandez, the Texas Chancla.
Hey, Cowboys fans, want to kick off tailgate season with the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, Rowdy, and a Dallas Cowboys legend? Stop by the H-E-B in McCreeless Market, located at 4100 South New Braunfels Avenue in San Antonio from 9 a.m. to 12 noon on Saturday, September 23rd. You'll even have a chance to enter to win tickets to an upcoming Dallas Cowboys home game, as well as tour the Hall of Fame bus and more. Don't miss out as we roll into town for the Dallas Cowboys tailgate tour presented by H-E-B.
Get yourself a Kinetico water system. I'm a huge fan of Kinetico water softeners. These things are quiet, efficient, reliable, and non-electric. But the best part is you'll save money when you own a Kinetico water softener. And I know, living in the hill country, you folks have some serious hard water that can cost you major money in cleaning supplies Connecticut water softeners are guaranteed to remove more impurities and perform with lower lifetime costs than any other softener on the market. Connecticut is a great choice for folks that are fed up with their old, junky water softeners. So, for the best water softener in the business and to save money, call Connecticut today.
This is Chris Knipper with Connecticut and San Antonio in the Hill Country. I'll let you try the Connecticut water softener for 90 days, absolutely free. Connecticut is simply the best water softener you can buy, and that's why we say it's the last water softener you'll ever own.
The last water softener you'll ever own. Call 656-PURE, Connecticut.
It's Macy's Labor Day sale with end of summer specials, like 30 to 40% off Levi's for him and for her, 70% off fine jewelry clearance, and 60% off luggage from Samsonite, Delsey, Travel Pro, and more. Or get an extra 20% off with your coupon or Macy's card. Star Rewards members can earn even faster during Star Money bonus days at Macy's. Availability and duration vary by store location. Details at Macy's.com/Star Money. Savings off sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply.
With Labor Day savings at the Home Depot, we'll get your kitchen clicking. With top brand appliances, like a new LG refrigerator capable of making 4 different types of ice. Or an LG oven with built-in air fryer for healthier, crispier options. Plus, with convenient shopping in-store and online, your innovative new appliances are also just a click away. Get up to $700 off select appliances, plus an extra $1,000 off LG kitchen appliances, only at the Home Depot. Pricing valid 8/24 through 9/13, U.S. only. See store or online for details.
If you get arrested, get out of jail fast by calling AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text bail to 474747 or online mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else. Don't be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you one, make sure you understand the conditions before accepting it. AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. They have payment plans. Call 210-225-2121 or mybestbailbonds.com.
License number 149.
This is Rob Thompson from R&R in the Morning. Join us tomorrow morning at 6 on your ride to work. Now more with The Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
I'm a little bit off the wall. Hey, what you need, ADHD for me.
Welcome back to Extra Angel Pleasure. I am James Pleasure. Thanks for riding along with me this evening. It's good. I've been off the last couple of days, so I've got a lot to get off my chest. And to do so, I bring in at least what feels like to me the more level-headed of the ones on the Blitz. That would be Mr. Jason Minix. Jason?
I think you need to repeat that real quick.
What, the more level-headed of the ones on the Blitz?
I get it. I'm the smart one. I'm with
No,
y'all.
I said level-headed.
Well, and that's smart. Look, I know I get a lot of Cowboy homer when you disagree with me, but I think I'm pretty realistic when it comes to the Cowboys. When it's time to rip them, I do that. And kind of like the Trey Lance situation. I'm still trying to make sense of it, even though it's already happened. And it is starting to make a little bit more sense, but it still doesn't. It doesn't.
I mean, it makes sense in the fact that I believe quarterbacks are currency. And with what they paid for Trey Lance, where the Cowboys had Trey Lance graded and what they gave up to get him, he's a lottery ticket that could pay untold dividends.
Well, and I'm one of those that when, fantasy drafts are rolling around, I'm at the end of my draft. I don't take a random wide receiver or a random running back that I know is never going to play. I will take a quarterback that will never play on my team, but somebody might need him in a trade later on. So I'm from that theory, I'm with you because I do that some with fantasy football. I mean, I'm not opposed to having, 3 quarterbacks, maybe even 4 quarterbacks towards the end of your draft because people run out of quarterbacks pretty easy. And if somebody gets hurt, somebody's willing to make a trade. I'm going to get more value for that for say a Baker Mayfield than a Jalen Tolbert in the last pick of the draft if it comes to a trade.
I look at the Trey Lance thing, and I do believe scheme could play a possibility in it. I think there are a lot of things that come to the forefront when you're talking about Trey Lance. Has he not worked out in San Francisco? Yes. Did the Cowboys use this get some hand in Dak negotiations in terms of not being just completely left out to dry if Dak asked for the moon? And is it also something where they could look at it as an untold ticket to pay dividends in the future? Or could this also just be a chance for them to strike gold the same way they did with Dak Prescott? Yes, all of these things can be true, and it can cover all of those bases at the same time. And the Cowboys, I believe, for the cost of what it was, made an extremely smart move, especially when you look at the other teams that were supposedly going after him, whether it was the Lions, the Bills. These are teams with also established quarterbacks that felt the need to at least contact San Francisco about getting this guy into their building.
Well, all of that is true, and apparently they were all offering a 6, and the Cowboys come in with a 4. Maybe they overpaid, maybe they didn't. And I still think the best value that Trey Lance has for this year's Dallas Cowboys team is knowledge of San Francisco when they play in the regular season and inevitably meet in the postseason. And for those of you that think that doesn't matter, you guys are so completely wrong. His knowledge, his ability to help them scout and prepare for San Francisco, that might be the difference in them finally getting a win against Kryptonite, because that has been the Cowboys' Kryptonite the last couple of years, and there's a lot of value in that. And if it's worthy of, say, a touchdown offensively or preventing a touchdown defensively, although last year's defense played pretty well in the playoff game, but the reality is if there's 3 to 7 points to be had there either way, that's a big difference for the Dallas Cowboys. He might get a game ball that week, depending on how well he helps him prep.
That is also true. He is Jason Minix. The rosters were cut down. I still think they're being finalized to an extent in terms of what the Cowboys still need to address in terms of having a backup center on the roster or just depth on the offensive line in general. There are still names out there that have been out there that could be available to the Cowboys, like a former second-round pick who started 44 games in Denver out of Kansas State. I'm talking about Dalton Reisner, who could provide immediate help and depth to an offensive line that there are concerns about that depth, especially when you look at the injuries to Josh Ball and Matt Walesko and some of the injuries they've faced, at least when it comes to the depth of that line at this point.
When you look at the available offensive linemen and some of the rules about claiming guys, like if they go out and claim a guy, I think they've got to be on the roster for 3 games, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever the rules are with guys that have played. I mean, so he's out there. A lot of teams need offensive linemen. He's out there for a reason. But to your point, the Cowboys need to be bringing in a lot of big guys. They need offensive line help. Hell, they needed offensive line help before cut down day. And then when they got rid of so many, it was a surprise. I'm not a fan of Josh Ball, but the fact that you don't even have that guy. And so you got to, to me, offensive line is such a big concern. And that's where, we react in the moment with what we see without knowing what the conversations are in the room, who they're looking at, whether it's Reisner or somebody else that we have no idea about. The reality is they're going to add some guys over the next 24, 48 hours. They're not going to go into game week and say, all right, well, we're going to go with 6 guys and hope nobody gets hurt. We don't need a backup center. We don't need a long snapper. Of course they're going to, just like, Kansas City is going to sign some quarterbacks to back up Patrick Mahomes. So while the rosters, we always look at cut down day, they sound like Nick Saban. It's not like the 2 deep is etched in stone forever.
Also, we tend to, in the moment, as you say, get very worked up about how things happen. Remember, they have to do things procedurally too. Like there's a reason they kept Matt Walesko on the roster, dropped other players off, hoping to get them back on the practice squad and then eventually onto the roster, because they clear up a space by placing people on the injured reserve, like a Walesko, who they know is going to if you subject him to waivers, he may be the one that gets picked up over someone else. So you're protecting the guy you find more valuable and then creating that space later by placing him on the injured reserve. And it's just procedural moves for the team in order to make the roster the way they see fit.
Yeah, there's so much paperwork. And you're right. And that's why it's, we all get worked up on who gets cut and who doesn't, who's coming back to the practice squad. You look at, like a guy like Will Greer, I believe he's been in the league long enough to where he could have had the option, stay in Dallas on their practice squad or, get picked up and go somewhere else. And sometimes it's money. I mean, practice squad money, there are minimums. And I don't know if there's maximums, but you can have a range if you're a second-year, third-year player on what you can make on the practice squad, and an extra $10,000 a week on one practice squad is worth more than on another. I mean, that's $180,000 more a year that you could make when you look at what those practice squad guys get. So sometimes it's a business decision, and you kind of go from there. You look at a guy like Dennis Houston. I did not see, is he back on the Cowboys practice squad yet? Here's a guy that was on the opening day roster a year ago at wide receiver, partly because of injuries. Jalen Tolbert didn't do anything, and Gallup was still hurt. Dennis Houston was on the opening day roster. This year, he's a practice squad guy.
He is Jason Minix, co-host of the Blitz, weekdays from 2 to 6. Tomorrow, y'all are live out at one of my favorite spots, the Roo Pub.
281 in Redland Road, man, 2 to 6. And then we get some college football tomorrow night with Utah playing, although it does look like the quarterback for Utah, according to the ESPN reports, dealing with an injury, might not be able to go. That takes a little bit of shine off of a good kickoff game. Mm-hmm. Then you got Arizona State also playing, but they're going to be bad this year. But I'm just glad that we're ready for college football on Thursday night, then on into the weekend with so many there's some decent games. And then there's some, typical week one college football, but I think we're just so desperate for it to be here. It doesn't matter if the games get ugly in a hurry.
Exactly. And some of them we want to get ugly in a hurry, like the Texas Longhorns as they take on the Rice Owls. And y'all were talking to Bob Ballou a little bit earlier, sports director at KITV up there in Austin. And he was talking about the potential of the Longhorns this year. And I haven't heard people talk about the Longhorns with this kind of glowing aura surrounding them in a long time.
Well, the recruiting classes have been great. The talent on that roster that's returning, and Sark is going into his third year. This is his team, and he's got everything that he can ask for as a coach. He gets all the support, got NIL money. He's got it all there, and that's the crazy thing. I mean, remember when Mac Brown had the title of best coach in February? But you got to be able to get it done during the football season. And I know Mac won a national championship and went to another national championship game. But when Mac left, that cupboard was bare. And, there's been years where you felt like they had Joe Tessitore said it, how many, 10, 12 years ago, Texas is back. Kind of felt like they recovered. But this year, there's no excuses, and one of the biggest question marks isn't a position group, it's the coach. Can Sark get it? And, for those that were not happy about the Sark hire to begin with, they're probably the ones least encouraged or trusting of the head coach not to screw it up. But again, he's recruited extremely well. He's got all the players in place. There is no reason that the Texas Longhorns don't win the Big 12 this year. There is no reason they don't finally make it into the college football playoff. And if they don't, you look at Sark, you're not looking at the players. I mean, now granted, once the season gets started, we might look and go, well, yeah, we over-evaluated that team. And, I think a lot of times, kind of like with the Dallas Cowboys, because they've got a star in their helmet, we over-elevate their talent abilities. And I think sometimes you get that with UT, but in this case, I don't know if that's the case. We've got the players there. Can the coach get the most out of them?
He is Jason Minix. Catch him every weekday, 2 to 6, especially tomorrow. Go out and join him and Joe. They're going to be at the Roo Pub at 281 watch games, especially with college football kicking off tomorrow. Should be a good time out at 281 and Redland Road.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, Pledge.
Thank you, Jason. That is Jason Mannix. Make sure to catch him and Joe every weekday, 2 to 6. But coming up next, Rob Thompson from R&R in the Morning joins me as I have to find out his thoughts on Trey Lance. It has been a long week. I haven't really gotten to talk to him much this week about that. As a matter of fact, I filled in for him earlier. I know what Rudy thinks of it, but what does Rob think of it? And his Aggies. Does he feel like this is the year that Jimbo, along with the new offensive coordinator and Bobby Petrino, can finally clear that hurdle? That's all coming up next right here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
If you miss the Blitz with Jason and Joe, then you miss this.
We've got tickets to see Skid Row and Buck Cherry.
Now, Skid Row would have been good. I know a few of their songs, I think. But Buck Cherry, I don't
You heard that song, Crazy Bitch?
I lived it.
Wow.
Did I say that?
Right home with the Blitz. Afternoons 2 to 6 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Let's face it, talking about life insurance is never easy. But after we watched a close friend lose her husband with no insurance, we decided that wasn't going to happen to our family.
Yeah, but shopping for life insurance can be almost as difficult as talking about it.
But then we heard about Ethos Life Insurance. They're a new kind of life insurance, built for people on a busy schedule who don't have time for unnecessary doctor's visits, fine print, or hidden fees. You know, who want to keep it simple.
I couldn't believe how easy it was. We answered a few basic questions, and within minutes, we had an estimate of what it would cost and what sort of policy made sense for us.
I never imagined life insurance could be so affordable.
And accessible.
The peace of mind knowing that our future is secure, it just removes a lot of the fear around getting older and...
Yeah, the unexpected.
I'm glad we talked about it.
I'm glad we went with ethoslife.com.
Go to getethos.com now for your free estimate. That's getethos.com. Getethos.com.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Attention taxpayers. If you or your business owe the IRS back taxes, the IRS has greenlighted billions of dollars in tax relief to those facing financial hardship and is now accessible through Tax Help USA. If you have a delinquent tax problem and possibly facing wage garnishment, liens, levies, audits, or already in a payment plan, you may now qualify for significant relief. For this free information, call 800-948-9401. 800-948-9401. That's 800-948-9401.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. So you ordered a new air filter for your car. You try to install it, but it doesn't fit. So you take a little bit off the sides. What, still doesn't fit? Well, you could try to sit on it. Or get it right the first time with eBay Guaranteed Fit. When you see the check, you know that part's going to fit. Air filters, brakes, headlights, over 122 million parts. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors, let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Okay, next time you're at the store, I dare you to not think about the unclean scent
of Irish Spring. Yeah, you heard me. I want you to resist picturing a shower filled with those sensational Irish Spring suds. And if you succeed, well, you got what my gramps used to call resolutitude. Not a real word, but let's be honest, you're probably going to end up leaving with Irish Spring because of its irresistible scent and because you have zero resolutitude. Pick up Irish Spring at Walmart today.
Welcome to What If, the show where I, Jake from State Farm, answer your insurance what ifs. We've got a call from Millie. What's up?
Hi, Jake. What if, hypothetically, a moose gets mad at my car and rams into my windshield? Hypothetically.
Oh, just file a claim on the app. At State Farm, we're there for your what ifs.
Great, but what if the moose eats my phone? Hypothetically.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or go to statefarm.com for a quote today.
Cookie wants to be a professional wrestler.
I'm Cookie Serratos, and I'm 11 years old.
She also wants to win all the medals. That's why Cookie and her family make every day count, squeezing out her best with Go-Go Squeeze.
Okay, Cookie, let's break for a Go-Go Squeeze.
Go-Go Squeeze Fruit on the Go pouches are a nutritious snack made from 100% fruit with no sugar added.
Go, Cookie!
Because when you nurture your kids, you squeeze out the best in them. Squeeze out the best with Go-Go Squeeze. Not a low-calorie food. Products range from 11 to 13 grams of sugar and 60 to 70 calories per serving.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health San Antonio will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 210-615-7777. That's 210-615-7777. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2023 Bank of America, N.A.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star welcomes the future.
And so when someone says bulk up.
Why? What for? You should tell all this to skinny up.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star 94.1 FM. You can also listen at sasportstar.com or subscribe to our YouTube page at SA Sports Star. You can follow along. You can comment along like Joshua Jimenez has, as he says the Texans are holding on to Mills as a better pickup for a team than a trade with Lance. Look, I get that. I understand that wholeheartedly. If you missed it, Diana Rossini of The Athletic reported that the Texans had received calls on both Case Keenum and Davis Mills, but the Texans were going to hold on to both of them at the time. It's interesting. Quarterbacks are currency. I say it all the time. Quarterbacks are currency. It doesn't matter first, second, third string. Doesn't matter what it is. What their upside is totally changing from moment to moment. And I bring into the conversation now Rob Thompson of R&R in the Morning as he joins me on the Buyers Barricades phone lines. Rob, what's going on?
Oh man, life on top of the hill. Going good.
Life's always good on top of the hill. I imagine there's a nice breeze going on out there today, hopefully.
Yeah. Hey, James, I see rain all around me. It's not landing on me, but I do see it north of me up around Comfort, I think.
Well, I mean, as long as we're getting rain in the area, that's really all I care about because rain travels downward and the lakes and rivers, and they need some rain.
If anybody going to tube this weekend, we need it now.
Exactly. Rob, I filled in for you Monday, so I know Rudy's take, but I haven't really gotten to discuss with you very much about Trey Lance and your thoughts on the Cowboys' acquisition of what seems to be a very polarizing move by Jerry Jones to go out and spend a fourth-round pick on a guy who the 49ers gave up 3 first-round picks to move up to number 3 overall just a couple of years ago, and a guy that has had 2 NFL starts and 1 college start since 20.
There's so many facets to this. Now, when you describe it as the guy they got that took three picks to pick up just 2 years ago, it's a deal, and it is a good deal. It's worth a look-see. I'm not upset with the move. I would have done it too. But one of the things we've talked about is the opportunity cost for going and getting it. This is a team that at the end of the preseason is woefully deficient on the offensive line. There is no depth.
Mm-hmm.
And then they dealt with more injuries. That number 4 pick might have had some value immediately on the line if you were willing to make that deal. So I do think that they gave up something in the opportunity cost. I also believe that this was a shot fired at Dak, that we love you. You're going to get paid, but your replacement is always just one guy away. So I like what he did there. I just don't know the timing. It just seems like what an unfortunate time to throw this hand grenade in the locker room a week and a half before the first game.
I understand the facet when it comes to the locker room because the timing of it is weird, but he didn't become available until just recently either. So there is that aspect of it.
The chase is worthy of the investment if it works out in 3 years. I think he's also got a weapon in his legs that can be usable this year. It is another thing to do. So there is some benefit there. But at the end of the day, this is a good move. I think McCarthy needs to understand where he stands, and Dak, I think, got to put in his place. It will cause about 10 days of guys like us reacting, and starting fires where there probably isn't one.
Yeah, I don't so much see a fire, but in terms of the offensive line and the cost associated with that, I understand it, and that 4th could have been used. But how many teams that didn't cut offensive linemen are willing to part with some of their offensive linemen? Because the cost association, sure, but there's also the willingness to part with such.
True that. And there are guys that were cut today that if you were going to be traded, you'd have traded for a guy that probably would have been cut anyway. But of the 32 teams or the 31 teams out there are at least 5 offensive linemen on rosters that could start someplace else. That a team has that they're paying, they'd rather not have, but they like the depth. That if you make the right call at the right time, I'm sure you could go find it. I think what I've watched the Texans do over the last couple of weeks is an appropriate move. Look, we know we got a problem. We're going to attack it the best way we can. We're not going to spend a lot of capital, but we're going to go get some guys to fill some gaps and see what happens. That's where the Texans are. They can do that. The Cowboys need to be a little bit more discriminating, but they're still in the same boat. They are missing offensive line depth. And as we look at new play caller and all the new guys and all the new blocking schemes, it's going to cost them at some point. They're going to suffer for their decision. It's just a matter of how long they suffer and how quickly they can come back for it.
Can I interest you in a name?
I'm always eager to. And don't say Kenyon Green. He's hurt.
I'm not. I know he's on the injured reserve. He's done for the season. His shoulder is blown out. That is a whole different obstacle to have to attack. But this one won't cost you anything but cap space. It will not cost you a draft pick because he has been a free agent. He is a man with 44 starts. He was a 2nd-round pick out of Kansas State a few years back. Played for the Denver Broncos. His name is one Dalton Reisner. And he has been readily available to any and all that are willing to make that phone call.
See, if it's me, I make that call because I truly believe that Jerry in his heart of hearts sees this as the window closing, that I'm going to have to spend a lot of money on Dak before the next year begins. And I'm going to lose some guys that I have today. That there's going to be an empty locker room, much different from last year to this year to next. We're going to see some exiting bodies as Micah finally gets his check and Dak finally gets his. There's going to be some guys leaving. And I think that there is this sudden sense of urgency with the Cowboys. Like it's not a 1-year window, but they're getting real close to the time where real decisions have to be made, long-term 4- and 5-year decisions that they haven't had to deal with yet. And with this Dak coming up, I think getting Trey Lance is just a small piece in a bigger puzzle that Jerry is just now beginning to play.
He is Rob Thompson of R&R in the Morning. weekday morning from 6 to 10 a.m. Switching over to college football as we finally start to get our feet wet with the season approaching with week 1, not week 0, but where the real teams start to play, like Texas and Texas A&M. Your Aggies, they announced Connor Wegman as the starter, and they are coming into a season that you truly, or at least I truly from the outside, am befuddled on what this team is based on what they showed they were last year, the talent that is on that roster, and what they can be this year. They could go any way.
Well, this is a team that lost essentially 2 starters. Now, there were a lot of guys that started last year just due to injury.
Mm-hmm.
You got a sophomore quarterback who's spent a year. Now, everybody that's there has been part of a top 10 recruiting class. Everybody on this roster, they've been number 1, they've been number 3, they've been 9. But over the last 4 years, there are not holes. These are, by every measure, the recruits that are required to win in the SEC. You bring in an offensive coach that, he's a wild card in Petrino. We know he has a short shelf life, but we also know what he's been capable of. I saw a thing, a back in time story about Lamar Jackson. His sophomore year, first game of the season, accounted for 8 touchdowns in his first game as a sophomore under Petrino. The guy can coach, and he can coach an offense. And now the questions about cohesiveness between the OC and the head coach, I think that's going to linger. But I think A&M is the beneficiary of being completely overlooked. If any other team in the SEC that even won 2 games, the Aggies won 5, and they did beat some good teams last year. They lost some good ones too, some bad ones. Was returning 19 starters, including their quarterback and the entirety of the offensive line. None of them would be ranked in the 20s. They'd be ranked at the very least in the teens. But A&M gets overlooked. They've got the players. I think that this is a low key. If you're looking for a dark horse across the country, I think A&M's in a good position to be there.
Who is your kind of low-key dark horse breakout candidate for the Aggies? Because you can look at the receivers and be Moose Muhammad, I get it, but I kind of look at Johnson, the tight end, and say, at least in Petrino's offense, he could put up some huge numbers.
Tight end. That's a lot. That's a big question from the veterinarian underground that I deal with. And my true insight into Aggie football is we know Jimbo loves tight ends. That the tight end is a part of his offense. He's put guys in the NFL, and tight ends want to come and play in College Station. What Petrino does with a tight end, especially given that they've got 3 wide receivers that are going to play on Sunday. For how long, I don't know, but they're going to get drafted. They're not going to be free agents. They're going to play on Sunday eventually. So where does the tight end play? We hope it plays a big role because there's talent there, still there, that Jimbo brought in under the guise of his older offense. Now, does it play in? We expect it to. But I think we're going to see a bit more of a wide open pro-style offense that'll feel a little bit more like Ole Miss than it did Auburn.
He is Rob Thompson. Catch him every weekday from 6 to 10 with Rudy J on R&R in the morning right here on San Antonio Sports Star. Rob, what y'all got coming up tomorrow?
Hey, tomorrow, cut days do continue. We'll get you ready for a good football game tomorrow night. Utah and Florida. We're not going to be able to say Pac-12 SEC matchup very much longer, but this looks like one of those good barometer middle-class football game from a Utah team that had a lot of talent last year that has been successful against the Florida team trying to prove something. So we got good college football. The NBA in play as Giannis is starting to maybe talk about leaving, and we'll look at the tiers of NBA talent around the NBA and on the heels of the Athletics saying they expect the Spurs to only win 27 games. We're going to look at the true talent. What does the rest of the league look at San Antonio? Where do they see our talent? I've got some bad news. Of the 5 tiers of talent in the NBA, the Spurs only put 2 dudes in that list, and none of them were higher than on a 4th tier. It's going to be a long road. And, of course, cut day. A lot of NFL talk because that's what we do.
He is Rob Thompson. Him and Rudy J tomorrow morning and every weekday morning from 6 to 10. Thanks for your time this afternoon, Rob.
Hey, James, always a pleasure. Go home, get a sandwich, take a nap.
That sounds like a plan. I'm on it. That is Rob Thompson. He recording. But coming up next, we take a look around the NFL. What cuts had effect on what teams? Where did Will Grier end up? And the Houston Texans getting ready for week 1 as CJ Stroud has been officially named the starter finally following their win against the Saints on Sunday. All that more coming up next right here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It's the Awesome Tickets Pro Football Pick'em Challenge on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Your shot at $50,000 nationally, while weekly winners locally get a $50 gift card to Five Oaks Ace Hardware on Thousand Oaks. At the end of the season, locally, the best overall record wins the San Antonio Grand Prize of $1,000 worth of tickets to any event from Awesome Tickets. Sign up today at sasportstar.com.
Hey, sports bettors, this is Rob Thompson here to tell you about my favorite sports book. In fact, the only sports book I endorse. That's BetUS.com. Football's here, and it's time to get busy again. And BetUS.com has a 30-year anniversary present for you. How about 30 risk-free bets? They call it Bet Protect. You need to find out about it. Go to BetUS.com right now as they offer the industry's biggest 125% sign-up bonus. And if you're coming with crypto, there's even more. That's 1-800-MY-BET-US. Go to BetUS.com, sportsbook and casino, where the game begins.
Nigel, why are you wearing a backpack?
I'm going back to school.
Folks, when your AC decides to flunk out or your home's plumbing is stuck in detention, you don't have to worry. At Quarter Moon Plumbing, AC, and Heating, our technicians are certified with all the latest technology and can fix any plumbing or AC issue fast and at a fair price because you deserve A+ service.
Gotta go, Joel. We're studying paper mache. I might have to pull an all-nighter.
Quarter Moon Plumbing, Heat, and AC. 210-651-5899. License number M16004. DACLA 000743458.
It's Macy's Labor Day sale with end of summer specials, like 30 to 40% off Levi's for him and for her, 70% off fine jewelry clearance, and 60% off luggage from Samsonite, Delsey, Travel Pro, and more. Or get an extra 20% off with your coupon or Macy's card. Star Rewards members can earn even faster during Star Money bonus days at Macy's. Availability and duration vary by store location. Details at macys.com/starmoney. Savings off sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply.
With Labor Day savings at the Home Depot, we'll get your kitchen clicking. With top brand appliances, like a new LG refrigerator capable of making 4 different types of ice. Or an LG oven with built-in air fryer for healthier, crispier options. Plus, with convenient shopping in-store and online, your innovative new appliances are also just a click away. Get up to $700 off select appliances, plus an extra $1,000 off LG kitchen appliances, only at the Home Depot. Pricing valid 8/24 through 9/13, U.S. only. See store or online for details.
Hi, I'm attorney Steve Benke. If you've made the decision to divorce, you need an experienced attorney who can help. I've helped many people get through divorce, custody, child support, and alimony problems. Call me. I'm attorney Steve Benke.
210-DIVORCE or go to BenkeLaw.com.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health San Antonio will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 210-615-7777. That's 210-615-7777. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Now is the best time to buy a Connecticut water softener. With current models being closed out to make way for the new ones, you can save big. Call Connecticut at 656-PURE and tell them Dave Ramsey sent you. That's 656-PURE.
If you're a man and you live in San Antonio or the surrounding areas, you need to pay close attention to what I'm about to say. Are you having issues rising to the occasion? Do you constantly worry about whether or not you can perform? Have you completely stopped having adult time? Is it something you just don't talk about? Guys, we have a solution. Mojo, the 100% guaranteed male enhancement pill that's fast, effective, and was designed to reignite passion, performance, and confidence in the bedroom. Yeah. Be ready at a moment's notice with the Mojo Male Enhancement Pill from Pure Line Nutrition. And for those of you who have used Mojo, check out Touchdown! A new formula that improves the potency and effectiveness of Mojo. Get fast results, last longer, and be the man she'll never forget. Mojo and Mojo Enduramax, 100% natural male enhancement formulas, only available at Pure Line Nutrition. Call now, 210-494-2210. That's 210-494-2210. Or visit us online at thepureline.com.
It's football season and the Roo Pub is kicking off their 10-year anniversary party. Over the past decade, the Roo Pub has proven to be the best place to watch a game with those 3 massive 170-inch screens and TVs all around. College football, pro football, the games are on at the Roo. Aggie fans, every game will be on with sound. And when you show up at the Roo Pub, show up hungry. The food is fantastic. Celebrating 10 years, the Roo Pub next to the Angry Elephant, 281 in Redland Road. We'll see you at the Roo.
If you travel as much as the San Antonio sports guys travel, while you're on the road, be sure to take us along. Listen to the 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star live stream anywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I am James Pleasure. Thanks for riding along with me. Lloyd D in the comment sections on our YouTube page saying, great show, dude. I appreciate it, Lloyd. Dennis Harris also up in there. DJ talking about the 49ers didn't know, the Cowboys don't know, and nobody will ever know how good Trey Lance can be unless given the opportunity to show his skill and development on the field, like Montana in the 3rd round or Brady in the 6th. That's absolutely true. He just hasn't gotten reps. And as Indy Clue likes to say, you can't get better at playing football by not playing football. So it comes down to that. Mike Baez of Bear County Apparel says Pledge is the real sports star at the station. I appreciate it, man. Bear County Apparel, check it out. I've just got in a couple of really dope shirts. Says the D'Amico Ryans effect, the D'Amico effect. It's a Texan shirt. It's dope. Definitely check out Bear County Apparel. Appreciate them for everything they do. Speaking of the Texans, they finally named their starter as CJ Stroud will start week 1. As I have said for a long time, that has been the writing on the wall. Why couldn't you just announce it? It's irrelevant at this point, but it is now concerning in the sense that they have suffered a lot of injuries up front. Juice Scruggs may not be ready for the regular season. Titus Howard may not be ready for the regular season as he's still recovering from a hand injury, broken hand he suffered. Could be ready, could not week 1. Juice Scruggs, same thing, hamstring strain in the preseason finale against Saints. Could be ready, could not be ready. They have addressed it by going out. Kenyon Green, done for the year, shoulder injury, 1st round pick from last year, just not working. And so now what looked like a strength, there are a lot of question marks. Jarrett Patterson, their 6th round pick this year, and the guy they just traded for in Kendrick Green were both taking reps at center. Dalton Reisner makes a lot of sense for the Texans too right now, just in terms of you want to protect your investment, that investment being CJ Stroud, the number 2 overall pick, keeping him upright and allowing him, especially with the schedule starting off against the Ravens in Baltimore, it's going to be very, very difficult. I appreciate everyone for stopping in. This has been Extra Innings with Pleasure. Don't forget, R&R in the morning, 6 to 10, followed by The Blitz, live out at the Roo Pub, 281 in Redland Road, 2 to 6.
This is Jim Rome. Have a take, don't suck on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, KTFM, Floresville.
This is Sports.
I'm Kevin Winter, closing in on the final month of the regular season in Major League Baseball, and many of the eyes are on the American League West race between the Texas Rangers, Seattle Mariners, and Houston